Hey guys, how you doing? This is jpsarrireviews coming to you once again with another episode. And this episode is actually pre-recorded, as I mentioned on my previous podcast on Tuesday, because we are in the middle of a mandatory evacuation here in South Carolina, in the coastal South Carolina. So we have to do it because of Hurricane Dorian. So right now, today is, of course, Thursday. It might be that it passed or not. I don't know. I might not be home. But in any case, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Thank you for watching the video. If you do it through YouTube, it really appreciate it. But today I want to share, in this pre-recorded podcast, I want to share with you something that it really touches my heart, I think. And I feel that now with everything that is happening, with all the chaos of hurricanes and the preparation of hurricanes, and of course it's a very stressful time. We are used to it here in the coastal Carolina. We are used to this. You know, it happens every year. We have to evacuate. We have to move. We're going to stay with family. We take the time as a vacation time, go to the mountains or whatever. We do things like that. It's a time of relaxation, but also it's a time of a lot of stress. Not necessarily when you go out, it's the fact that you have to leave. You have family, you have your kids. In our case, we have elderly people in the family. We have, our kids. I have only a child, but we have my nieces and my nephew. And of course, we have pets. Everyone has a pet. We have multiple pets. My daughter has a bunch of pets. So definitely it can be hectic. But it's also an important time for kind of think about those things. Sometimes we have this tendency to see the world we live in as the only thing that matters. And we don't see how blessed we are. And we don't see that the opportunities to spend time with family is also valuable. And the material things, everything we have, this house, everything, it's not everything. It's not as important as we think it is. We might consider it important. We might give it a lot of value. But that doesn't mean that is the most valuable thing. And we have to put everything in the right order so we can have a successful life. And that's why I wanted to name this one, this podcast, this episode today, Hello Hurricane. One of my favorite bands, Christian bands, has always been Switchfoot. I've been listening to Switchfoot since probably the late 90s. I've been listening to it since pretty much there was a small company, a small band, and I've followed them ever since the first album. And one of my favorite albums is Hello Hurricane. It came out in 2009. Love that album. I think it's one of the most powerful albums they have. It still has that spiritual connotations of Switchfoot and the message, but also it's a very energetic. And it's what I like about Switchfoot and many of those Christian rock bands is the fact that it's not preachy. It's not there to tell you, it's not worship music. It's just music with a message that I think anybody can really accept. And that's what I know, that a lot of people listen to Switchfoot, not necessarily if you're a Christian or you identify yourself as Christian or go to church. You identify with the message, because I think at the end of the day, we as human beings, all of us, we are spiritual. Whether we do it in one way or the other, we are all spiritual, and we're looking for the spiritual things in our lives and the meaning of life, and that makes us spiritual. We like art because that's part of our spiritual. It really induces our emotions, which also are very entitled to, or pretty much our soul. In reality, that's entitled to our spirit that is connected to it. So we are. But what I like about that album is because it's so powerful, but also embraces the hurricane, embraces life and the challenge of life in a good way. And that's what I always love about Switchfoot as a band, is the fact that it's as a band, it's always about embracing today. It's about embracing the challenge and embracing that with joy. And that's one of the reasons why I have always listened to the music, because I always find it full of joy and inspiration. And I think life is about that. And the reason why I want to talk about it today in this episode is because I feel that in life there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be hurricanes that come to us in one way, shape, or form. It happens in anything. It happens in any industry. It happens in the collectible world. It happens in the gaming world. It happens on the movies, on the sets, where there is the Spider-Man. We're not gonna get to see more Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland because of the feud between Sony and Marvel, where there is that all the companies collapse and there's no longer selling or producing that collectible line that we were a fan of, like some toy line or some diecast line is closed, a company closes doors, or whether it's the gaming, some game didn't make it out, they have to cancel it, or the game didn't come out as well, or a company closes doors and people get laid off and all that. So you're always going to see this chaos, this hurricane that happens everywhere, and life is like that, and we have to learn to adapt with it. We have to move with it, and I've talked about it in so many times in this podcast, and I like to emphasize it all the time because I think it's something that we easily forget. Even though we are, as human beings, we keep our memories and we think about the past and we emphasize history in our lives, we have the tendency to always fall back into the same patterns that we did in the past. And that's the important thing about history, or maintaining the history, so we don't fall into those traps. But we do that on a personal level all the time. And on a personal level, we always fall back into the same thing and the same habits. We see everything as these mountains in our lives as unsurmountable. We see these challenges as impossible to defeat. Illness, sickness, financial distress, marriage, problem with our kids. We see them like, that's it. This is the end. I'm done. But we overcome, because that's the nature of us as humans. We are overcomers, and you have to keep that in mind. Sadly, we have I would say now more than ever, an epidemic. It's epidemic of, I would say, suicides, people committing suicide. And sometimes what happens is that people dealing with their mental challenge, they cannot overcome that to the point, and this is a spiritual thing, they cannot overcome that, more than emotional, even medical, all that combined, because they're all well connected together. Our spirit, our emotions, our bodies are all connected together. And people, when they lose the desire to fight, that's when things happen, sadly. And, it's sad when that happens, and it destroys the people around you. But I think it's important, as when we deal with depression, is to really look for solutions, to look for help, mental, spiritual, physical, whatever it is. We need to look for help. We are so entangled into the things we do that sometimes we don't realize the weight that it really puts on our shoulders. And that goes with our hobbies. That goes with everything we do, our entertainment nowadays. We get so entangled with social media that we lose track and sight of what really is important. And it really takes a toll. It really damages us as people. It really takes away our energy. It kind of chips away all your peace and all your joy. And once it does that, it takes away your ability to relax and to really enjoy the things for what they are. The simplicity of life. And but it's important that we embrace the challenge and we don't run away from the challenge. It's important that we embrace the chaos, but we do it with a peaceful mind. Now, if you have a peaceful mind, if you seek for that, you will be recharged. And the more recharged you are, the easier it is to tackle every issue in life. And you know that, whether it's in your employment, whether it's in your marriage, whether it's your kids, whether with your finances, but also, with your hobbies. So if you keep a mind, clear mind, everything you do will be benefit from it. We have to embrace the challenge. We have to embrace it, but not necessarily just to embrace it just because we love to be hit. I think nobody likes to be bullied. Nobody likes to be put down. Nobody likes to always suffer. I don't think we like to, to be punched. I think we do everything for self-preservation. But, sadly, even though we do all those things, sometimes we embrace those things that we shouldn't embrace as much. And we just roll with the punches. Life is about that, but also it's about being recharged. It's about growing. It's about enjoying. It's about really living. I hear all the time some people don't even have enough money to go on a vacation because all they have left over goes into their collectibles, which is always sad that people put so much money into their collectibles, put so much money into stuff that they don't even take time to really relax, to really just go out, to really take time, with their spouses, just to go out and really not think about collectibles anymore, not to think about the gaming anymore, not to think about those hobbies anymore, just to tune yourself out of the world and dedicate time to your spouse, dedicate time to your kids. And you know what? Sometimes storms in our lives are a reminder that we need time for ourselves, that we need time to recharge. So we need to embrace that. We need to embrace the challenge, and that life is never going to be a narrow path. Your hobby is never going to be a narrow path. You're never going to just walk this narrow path and everything's going to just be there and you're going to be able to get it done. No, because that's not the way the hobbies work. That's not the way you do things in life. There's always going to be a challenge, and you have to kind of go through the challenge and overcome it. You have to go around it, or you have to confront the problem, or you have to face it. And sometimes some problems are unfixable. You cannot fix certain things, so you have to find another way. But that's the challenge of it. That's the beauty of it. That's life. This hobby is now different, or any hobby. When I mean this hobby, I mean all the hobbies that I have and all the hobbies that you're part of. Whatever reason you watch this channel, whatever you listen, whatever hobby you have, there's never going to be a narrow road. It's never going to be a straight path. It's always going to be very curvy. It's going to go around all kind of things. It's going to do up and downs and all that. And it's going to be narrow. It's going to be, full of thorns, full of all kind of things happening in your life. You got to deal with that. We all got to deal with that. It's definitely one of those issues that we all have to face. Now I can tell you one thing. Coming to the conclusion of the podcast today, I want to make it probably short. Embrace the challenge. Embrace the hurricane. Say hello to it. Hello hurricane. I'm dealing with it. But learn from those things and embrace it for what they are and enjoy the ride. The important aspect of life is not the things you own. People are not going to remember you for what you owe, what you own. They're going to remember you because of your possessions. They're going to remember you for who you are. I was reading an article this past weekend when Buffett, he was one of the biggest billionaires in the world. He was asked, this article, it was talking about what he has said in the past in some presentations. He's saying that he was talking about legacy. He was talking that people don't care if you had all the money in the world. They're not going to remember you for that. People are not going to like you. They might remember you, but they might not like you. Just because they know who you are doesn't mean they like you. And it's about being remembered. It's about the legacy that we leave behind. It's about the people that we surround ourselves with. Who you surround yourself with. Are you surrounding yourself with the same people on Facebook groups that all they do is complain about everything and everybody? Is that the people you spend time with in these interactions and conversations? Always, talking smack about other companies, about other collectors. Always, being desensitized, dissatisfied. Is that the people you surround yourself with? Or you surround yourself with positive reinforcement. You surround yourself with people that really believe in you, that they're your friends because they're your friends, not because they know what you owe, just because the pictures that you present on Facebook. Because I really know my friends too. I know the people that follow me and that follow me over the years because of my video reviews, but not necessarily because they're my friends, not because they care about me. But the people that are my friends are those that, I have some of them, not all of them, but some people that once in a while they send me a message and they say, hey, how you doing, JP? Are you doing okay? How's the family? Those are my friends. The people that really, they follow me not because of my videos, whether I put videos or not. They follow me because, they like me as a person. And those are the people that I like too. Because when we talk about things that reinforce each other. And it doesn't matter if they are across the pond, they're on the UK, or if they are in Australia, or if they are in Singapore, Malaysia. It doesn't matter where they at. I know that we can talk and I can send a message once in a while. I know they listen. Those are your true friends. And the good thing is that, you make good friends in hobbies. And I have a lot of good friends. But also a lot of people that they're not necessarily my friends, but they know me, we're acquaintances, and that's all it is. But that doesn't mean that they're there they might be there for a season, they're not going to be there permanently. So we have to embrace life And we have to embrace the challenge, and we have to say hello to the hurricanes of life and just embrace it for what it is. Because no matter what, one thing the hurricane does, something that I know if you have never been in a hurricane, you're always going to notice this. The hurricane comes as strong and it's powerful. But once the hurricane passes, the aftermath, you might see a lot of destruction, but the skies are blue. The skies are always blue, and the nature, and it's warm again, and it's summer again. It's like it never happened. It happened because you see the destruction, the trees everywhere, all kind of stuff, debris. But it's like in the skies, nothing ever happened. And that's what happened is. Sometimes life challenges comes and everything happens, but ultimately when these challenges are not meant to be there forever. But when they pass, everything goes back to normal. And sometimes we die ourselves out. We killing ourselves just because of the situation we think that it's impossible to defeat. But you know what? There's always an end, and nothing lasts forever. And the same happens with troubles and challenges. So just enjoy the ride of life. Enjoy the hobby for what it is, whatever hobby you do, and just embrace it, enjoy it. But dedicate the time, put the emphasis on what really matters. And in that case is your relationship with your wife, if you're married, with your loved one, with your kids, grandkids, with your friends, your real close friends, and you'll see the impact and the joy. And once that happens, when they take the center place in your life, in my case as a Christian, God takes the center place. When everything takes place and it takes its rightful place, then everything else is meaningless. I enjoy it for what it is, but I'm not gonna sleep. I'm gonna lose sleep over it. It's not taking over my life. But that's just my opinion, and it's I want to share it with you today. And I want to wish you all the best. Stay safe. Those are pretty much in the path of the hurricane or within the hurricane or they're suffering. Stay safe with your family. If you evacuated and you have to come back home, just do it safely. Stay safe on the roads. Be patient. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of crazy people. I've been there. I know. But be mindful and of other people around you, and you'll be home safe, and God bless you, my friends. I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.